The introduction should be something like you saying something like,
Welcome to the coach's office. All right, guys, how we doing? We're in the coach's office, and we're the coach's office podcast. Welcome back. Today we're going to try to sit down and talk a little bit about success in CrossFit, what it means to be successful, and what maybe different athletes in different levels of their fitness, or maybe what is appropriate, how to define success. Something like that. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you guys like what we're doing, subscribe. You can leave your comments below if you guys want to hear any specific subjects talked about, or if you want us to discuss anything in particular. We read the comments. We're trying to get some feedback from you guys to kind of see what direction we should go in. So yeah, like the video or dislike the video, but I don't think you can dislike videos anymore.
I was going to say, I don't think you can dislike videos anymore.
No, YouTube took it down. I used to like to go around and just dislike videos, and I can't do it anymore.
I mean, it seems to be
I like videos
important.
that I like, though. I don't dislike all the videos. I just dislike the videos I don't like.
Right, exactly.
But
I mean, it's there for a reason, right?
It should, yeah. I mean, you need the positive feedback as well as the negative feedback. Otherwise, you don't know.
Right. Do you think this is an actual debate, whether or not, like, is there value to the thumbs up, thumbs down?
Absolutely. I don't know why it's even a question. Like, the only thing I could see from the other side is that they're trying to say, like, oh, it's just we're trying to keep it more positive. But how do you know if people don't like what you're putting out? People should be allowed to dislike the video. You can't silence them from disliking something. Am I wrong? I mean, you can, because they're going to do it, clearly. But I don't think it's going to be a good thing. It's kind of like you're doing something, you're making changes, and you don't know the effects of your changes, right?
Well, it seems to be the nuance in this is pretty serious. Like, it's actually something that you should really go into the nuance of, because at face value, what's wrong with just having a like button? It makes the content creator not have to go into the Nate spiral from Ted Lasso of that one nasty comment that changes him drastically again after he had been redeemed, forgave the dude, did the thing. The end of that episode, he goes in, curses him out or whatever off of one nasty comment. Ben, don't you want a world where one nasty comment doesn't cause Nate in the fictitious show Ted Lasso to not go off on the manager?
You hated him for how you reacted, though.
100%.
Like, they purposely made it that way, right?
And you don't like the comment.
No, you didn't like the person that made the comment because it's not true. Let's say,
or it's
but Nate wasn't able to recognize that it wasn't true.
Why is he not able to separate himself from that screen? The whole episode is him refreshing day-old positive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And then he keeps going, and then, all of a sudden there are these new posts, new comments. One of them makes fun of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the one that stuck. But people are more likely to stick on that negative emotion and focus on that rather than focus on the positive.
Right.
It's just easier for some reason, or it's maybe attractive or something. I don't know.
Well, I know symbolically, or at least it's going to translate into the real world. If you're going to do something worth doing, it's probably going to be criticized.
Right.
And that criticism, you have to learn how to deal with criticism.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things, like starting this podcast, I think I was a little nervous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're putting your thoughts. What we're doing here is we're sitting down and we're thinking. Right. We're talking. We're discussing. But we're thinking out loud, and our thoughts are being recorded and put on the internet, which is weird because anybody can see them. And you can be judged very easily.
Yeah. I do know that I don't like... I'm a words of affirmation type of person.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, if you like the 5 love languages and you pay attention to that at all, then mine is easily words of affirmation. I haven't really diagnosed why that is, but it's just true. So negative feedback is not really needed in my life because I'm able to critique myself. Like, I actively want to critique myself. It's part of why we started the podcast, and it's part of why we talk so much about the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're able to do the critiquing, right? Like, if you're able to do what the coach should do for you yourself,
Understanding what's good and what's bad.
right?
Yeah.
Those sorts of things, and not like in a self-deprecating way or
No, in a sort of like, let me build this build this up or build towards something.
yeah.
You have to understand what's good and bad in like, let's say, a building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your design. You have to know what's good and bad, and you have to be able to analyze both. You can't just, that's bad, let's not talk about it.
Right.
I don't want to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When I receive a negative comment like that, it doesn't send me into this downward spiral of depression, anxiety, and turn me into, this dick like it did Nate.
Mm-hmm.
However, it affects me. And I think
Sure.
it affects a ton of people.
Some people react that way, right?
Right.
I think everybody reacts in a different way, different manner to it. But what you're saying is you should be open to experiencing that so that you can find out who you are, and then you can adjust who you are based off of how you reacted to it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and this conversation could get really, really deep and nuanced really fast. And for the sake of not going on that deep, nuanced tangent, I think we should come back to just the simple part, like the most simple form of what we're trying to say, like CrossFit does, where it's like, take the very, very, very common, most simple common movements, and then teach the person off the street how to do those movements, how to squat, how to press, how to push, how to pull, those sorts of things. And don't make it super nuanced, right? Like, you're not teaching someone how to snatch.
Yeah, what would you teach a beginner?
Right,
You
exactly.
teach them how to squat first, right? Something like that.
So, for the sake of the coach's office and how we usually, how we've built our friendship and those sorts of things, break it down in a really, really simple way why the dislike button actually matters, if you can.
Well, where are you thinking that we're going to go? Because I think you have something in your mind of what the simple idea would be. I might be thinking I don't know, I might be thinking about something that you're not thinking about.
One of the most simple parts of the dislike button is the ability to get better. It's the test retest, right?
Yes.
All right. If you only have only have positive, and we know nature tells us that you need north, south, east, west. You need the
yang.
northern.
Yeah.
You need your yin yang. You need your hemispheres. You need your night day. Right? Like, it
just appears in
appears in
contrasts.
opposites, right?
Contrast each other because you can't bring out one without the other, right?
Exactly.
And if you can't do it, if you can't have the like and dislike button public, it'd be like going into a CrossFit gym and the coach recognizing the flaws, or you're working out but nobody else can see you, let's say.
All right, I have a solution.
Right? Yeah.
Get rid of both buttons, but leave the comments section.
Leave the comments. As long as you have the yeah, I mean, I think that's a good argument, because Instagram only has the like button, right? But then they have the comments, and the comment sections gets nasty.
Yep.
YouTube had the like and the dislike, but they started getting a lot of dislikes on videos that they don't want to have dislikes on.
Right.
So they took the dislike away.
So
now people are commenting again. So it's like Instagram, but on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's like there's no contrast. It's like only having one side. Or it's like two different sides, maybe. I'm trying to think of. But you're right, as long as you have the comment section, that's good. But then if you're going to do a like button, you have to have a dislike button.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's the easiest way to determine whether or not, like, dang it, I keep fumbling over what I want to say. It's letting you know off break, like from the jump, should I watch this or should I not watch this?
Or should I watch this cautiously?
Or critique it in any way, or
Sure.
and then add in your nuance from there. But the Rotten Tomatoes
Yeah.
audience score towards the like expert score
Yeah.
is super fascinating to me because it's another one of these types of debates. It's another place where
It's because they're opposites
it's usually opposite and it's usually
on something
skewed.
that's controversial, let's say.
Yeah, like, a recent comedy special that came out
Mm-hmm.
had like a 99.9, audience loved it rating. And the Rotten Tomatoes critics, experts said it was, a 5% or something like that out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wait, why is this so different? Like, it's drastically different. And I even think they did something about that. Like, I even think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, this wasn't the direction that I wanted to go, but the, like, really crazy, scary part of this argument to me is when Joe Rogan says, I don't read the comments at all. I understand what he's saying, and I think it's true. Don't read them. Like, in the hey, comment below for us, like, we're asking for your feedback. Like, hey, we want feedback on this art or whatever we're creating, whatever we're trying to do, and we're trying to get more in touch with the direction to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall, seeing what sticks.
Right.
And we want to know what sticks with you guys, so that's why we want to ask.
But what he's saying is the deep psychological impact of a comment on your video derailing you so much so that it could actually take you out in the real world, like in this manifestation. Like, if a comment on a video on the internet controls your feelings so much so that it prevents you from doing something like that you like, that you love, that you would rather keep doing than not do, that's a huge problem. Get rid of that. And his solution is, don't get rid of this, don't get rid of the internet, don't get rid of the podcast, don't get rid of the whatever it is. Like, hey, all my friends, stop reading the comments. And there's the nuance in that is half of those are probably just bot accounts. Like, they're not real. Like, imagine being derailed from something you love to do into an anxious, depressive,
I think that's just good advice.
state.
Yeah, I think that's just good advice from him, though, right?
Right.
It's him trying to pull the positive from this thing. He's saying, hey, listen to the podcast, discuss it, talk about it. Just don't, go into the comment section because it gets really nasty, and there's no need to kind of expose yourself to that
Right.
viewpoint.
And it's not even...
but if you want to, go ahead, by all means. It's not like it's not like someone's gonna censor you.
Right.
Maybe.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Oh wait, YouTube's doing that for him.
But you also have the strange aspect, like, this bot thing is crazy. You could legitimately just be arguing with a troll bot account.
Oh, sure. Right.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like, for real? That's nonsense. Anyways, the simple thing is you need feedback.
Yes.
Your body needs feedback. The CrossFit Gym is the perfect place to get feedback for someone who wants to get healthy, because you retest the second you walk into the building and you start lifting, you start moving, you start warming up. Oh, that doesn't feel right. Oh, I need to stretch this more. Whatever it is, the retest will help you. People who can't, feel they're losing their, nerve endings or whatever it is in their hands, that's really dangerous for them because they could end up with a hand on a scalding hot thing and really harm themselves and just not feel it. That's not good. You need that. That's a awful, horrible condition, and my heart goes out to somebody who can't do that. They imagine how much more cautious that person has to be, or how much more observant that person needs to be, right? There's a little bit of the critique of, like, the CrossFit injures you.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's what I immediately thought of was, well, that's what you get when you just walk into a gym and try to go all out at this CrossFit thing when you have no knowledge of what you're doing, or no knowledge of what you're supposed to be doing, or no coach watching you, or a coach watching you that is on their phone or is not as involved as they should be. Something like that. But that was what I thought of when you said that.
Do you think there are a lot of coaches in CrossFit gyms on their phones?
I mean, I hope not.
When they're coaching?
I hope not. You definitely... That's not even, shouldn't even be a topic of discussion. We shouldn't have to even talk about that.
Bro, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be bad. No, you shouldn't do that at all.
That's nuts. Small tangent. I've started to care immensely about this thing. When you want to teach someone how to squat to depth, how do you do it? Like, what is the where do you start?
When I tell them to teach them to squat to depth,
Yeah.
well, I think it depends because everybody's depth is different,
Correct.
right? Because
Right.
somebody can maybe get below parallel with a flat back, right? And they're able to, let's say, load the system, add weight to their front, back, overhead, and not change their spinal position, right? But then other people, they'll start squatting and they're so tight that they just like immediately tuck on their hips under. They get in a bad position and they're compromised where you can't add load to them. Like if you added a weight to them, they would collapse. So there's different people there that I would work differently with. So I want them to squat as low as they can squat while also keeping a good position in their back without rounding your back or losing and compromising your core, let's say. So I'd have somebody squat slowly, as slow as they can, and they'll feel that point where they start to kind of like lose it. And I'll say, I want you to stretch into that area, into that realm of losing it, just like an inch or two. I don't want you to go all the way to the point of losing it, but I want you to stretch yourself into the bottom each time you squat. And that should be your sign in your head of I'm low enough. But you can't just like drop into it fast. It has to be like a slow controlled squat until you learn where that point is. And then you kind of just work your way down over the course of time. You normally want to improve your mobility without any weight on you, where you're just squatting, where you're just sitting in a good squat, trying to pull your chest up. Maybe your butt's against a wall, or you're supported with a rig or something like that. You're trying to improve your mobility over time. You just have to spend time in that position. But yeah, have them start just by squatting really slow, and it exposes your tight areas of tightness and things that you would need to work on, and then work on them, but without weight.
What do you think about the classic like early CrossFit med ball depth test?
Yeah, I think CrossFit was just trying to standardize something. It's hard because CrossFit's not. I'm trying to think of how to say it here. Everybody's so different that a good coach should be able to differentiate different depths and different positions for different athletes. If you can't do that, you need to learn more as a coach until you're able to do that. Because if you just say, hey, here's a med ball, squat to this med ball, that you're trying to take a cookie cutter approach at this fitness and mobility issue when it's not a cookie cutter approach. You need to be able to individualize it to each person.
Right.
Because I'll tell some people to squat higher. Like if they're hyper mobile,
yeah,
we're like, hey, don't hit the bottom. You're going too low. Like your butt almost just hit the floor.
right.
Try to stop just below parallel, and let's try to train your body to start there.
If we're gonna talk success, let's talk success over multiple arenas. And one of the easiest arenas to start with right now is something that you did at your gym, which is starting a fit class, a 30-minute class, essentially a class described as a CrossFit class with no barbell. I would say that's how I explain it to people when they ask me what exists at CrossFit Krypton for me if I don't want to, lift weights, let's say. And I can sort of parse out their statement when they're, saying that, depending on who it is saying it, all of the above. If we start there and we start down this success track, when I think the 30-minute no barbell class, the K-Fit class, I think cookie cutter, personally, as a coach.
Interesting.
I think cookie cutter in the sense of this is meant to introduce, not develop.
Yep.
And the introduction becomes something that is very healthy for this person. It keeps them active. It's accomplishing many goals.
Mm-hmm.
It has success built into it, obviously, in all of its nuance. It's not. It doesn't seem to take you from your couch to a competition, though.
No. So what do you think of that as cookie cutter? Because I think of it.
Cookie cutter being the easiest thing to give away to this entire group so that they understand the smallest concept of what's happening, which is
but
a squat goes
Yes.
from here to here. And the med ball seems to accomplish that because a lot of people, and this is all sort of speculative, but I imagine a ton of people in that class have aren't going to be critiquing their squat,
Yeah.
when they're doing it or when they're at home because they're not loading it. They're not really worried about that. So their squat can be less than what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
50 air squats in a fit class is probably, that person doing it, I imagine they're only doing 10 of the 50, but they count 50.
Sure. Because maybe the reps aren't quite as good as you want them to be. Let me rant for a second because I think this is a thing that happens maybe. I've only experienced it from some people. So people might look around at a class and see a coach coaching a class and the athletes in the class aren't moving well. It's easy to think, let's say you're you pay attention to these nuance and details and movements and you look around and you're like, hey, the coach isn't correcting these people and they're moving poorly. What's going on, right? Let's give the coach a little bit of a benefit of the doubt that, hey, they're working with that athlete and they're letting them do the best that they can today.
Dislike button.
You dislike that?
No, just kidding.
Okay, all right. But so because that's what coaches should be doing. So coaches should be going around, right, and reinforcing better positions for athletes and showing them how they could maybe improve over time. Again, you give them one small thing to work on. Hey, let's use wall balls for an example. Someone's a little high on their wall balls. They start doing their reps. I come over while they're in a break, and I say, hey, let's go just a couple inches lower. Let's try to sit back a little bit more so that our heels don't come off the ground. And they do a couple reps a little bit lower, and they're like, man, that felt so different. And I'm like, okay, that feeling that you just had, let's try to replicate that feeling for the rest of the workout. That's your goal, and let's stay there. And then I think over the course of time, if they think about that thing, which is their job, not mine, I can't make them do it. I can just tell them. They'll improve over time, right? But the coach's job is to go around and help each athlete individually during the class, give each athlete one thing, that they can do to get a little bit better. And it's not a huge drastic thing. It's just one change. Like if, you're snatching and there's 8 errors that you see, don't address 8 errors. Address one error, the major one, right? The biggest one you can think of, and then let them go. And then come back and touch on it again. Ask them how they're doing with it. Ask them if they felt like it was any different, and then come back again and just kind of cycle around. But that's a good way to build relationships with your athletes and also not give them too much and overwhelm them. But don't look around and see people moving poorly and assume that the coach is doing something wrong for not telling them to do better, because I think then you're falling into that trap of comparison.
And the spectator is falling into the trap of comparison because they have now elevated themselves to.
That's what I mean. Yes. Yeah.
You don't squat well. I squat well. You're cheating. I'm not cheating. I am somehow now personally connected to someone else's workout in a class that I'm not a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And now my thought life is being dominated because this person is probably doing their best.
Sure.
And
the coach might even know it. The coach might even know they're doing their best, and they're letting them kind of struggle through it a little bit.
Yes.
Because that's part of it.
Right. This success journey that happens in the CrossFit gym is so nuanced, and it's beautiful though, because that person you just described could be the 11-year-old softball player, the 15-year-old baseball player, or the 65-year-old pastor who hasn't moved in 40 years,
and who's just needs to move. Like they just need to get in here and squat to their depth, whatever they can get to.
Right.
But I think, CrossFit was trying to just standardize it across the board.
Right.
To maybe start somewhere, but they need to teach that there's so much nuance involved. It's just hard to teach that.
Yeah, and I don't think they're overlooking too much. Like I think that they're training. I think that the training is sufficient
for the majority of people. Yes.
Yeah, but sometimes the mental success of the coach or the understanding the symbolic nature of what is currently taking place in this class might be a little more than getting this person to squat perfectly for the perfect squat's sake, right? Like the reason you're doing this is the next sort of angle of success. Let me ask you this. In that example, how many different people did we just bring up could succeed, and why was success different to each of them?
Yeah, success was very different for each one of them.
How?
Absolutely.
Like, it's like how that's amazing that this system has that in it. Like it's there for you to discover. If we're gonna keep peeling back layers in this podcast for ourselves,
it's there for you to discover.
Right.
Good point. But you have to. There's a little bit of work involved in order for you to do that, right? Like
so what's the squatter discovering?
The wall ball squatter, let's say.
Yeah.
Sure. They're putting together the feeling of the squat and being reinforced by the positive feedback of the coach. Because otherwise they might do something and wondering where they're going wrong or where they could be doing improving. But the coach should be there to be that textbook, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
They're the textbook that the athlete should be able to go to for knowledge, but then you have to take the knowledge and use it to the best of your ability in the real world, which is the workout, which is like something like wisdom, which is why it's so complicated, because you can hand out knowledge all day as a coach, but if your athlete can't apply the knowledge like in the workout, right, then there's a disconnect there, and that needs to be worked on. Like that's part of the athlete's fault, but also part of the coach's fault. But it's kind of like there needs to be that symbiotic relationship all the time, that give and take, that thumbs up, thumbs down.
Right. And what is the coach experiencing in this moment? Like at the end of that,
the coach is learning what works and what doesn't when they're giving feedback to athletes. They might say the same thing 5 different ways, right, to 5 different athletes, and 5 different athletes are going to interpret that different ways. So they have to be able to be adaptable and moldable to that person's not only movement, but their personality, because they're going to think a little bit differently. They're going to see something differently. And this is why I said in that first podcast, it was important for athletes to ask questions with their coaches, because it helps the coach also understand the mindset of the athlete, where they are, what they're thinking about. And if they're thinking about the wrong things, like if they're thinking about the thing at the top of the chart of level of importance where it's not that important, versus thinking about they need to be thinking about the base. The coach can redirect that athlete to think more about the things that are important or more important, so that they can succeed quicker, let's say, or reach their goals faster. So it's like, hey, I want to hit this 200-pound clean or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, great. Let's learn how to squat first. That's the coach's job. The athlete's job is to want to go there, right? But they also have to know that you got to build a foundation first. You got to go back to those basics, and the coach should be trying to keep the athlete there, but then let them go when they need to go. Like don't be that coach that doesn't let your athlete try a weight or try a lift or something because their form wasn't completely perfect. Let them go. Let them test themselves. See where they fail, because that's where they're going to learn. Yeah. But the coach is learning along this whole process. That's where we were kind of coming from.
And then the spectator.
Right. The spectator should be watching, not judging.
Bro, say it again for the whole world to hear.
The spectator should be watching, not judging.
Yes.
Like you see, it's like the philosophical type idea. You see the river going by, you don't step in it.
Right.
You just watch.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can talk about it. Sure, you can commentate on it, but then you kind of get in the realm of judging, and it's not helpful.
I took a class a couple of years back. Doesn't matter. None of this is important. The saying that came out of this class, it was a psychology class, was all unwanted advice is received as criticism. Be careful to give unwanted advice to your neighbor in your CrossFit class as a spectator.
It's wise.
It's different when you're in class with someone. It's different if your advice is uplifting, encouraging, building, even helpful. But man, if you're no repping people in your mind, or no repping people like to their face,
That's worse.
that could be seen as noble. It could be seen as telling the truth. It could be the truth.
Sure.
It might not be what that person needs in the moment, though. And so just be careful. Like, care. Like, legitimately care. Yesterday, I did the fit class. Great workout. Whoever programmed it did a great job.
Dane and Emily.
20 minutes, efficient, effective. It hurts as much as you make it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Row, strict press or push press, rest, ski, burpee pull-ups.
Oh, that was good. Those are two good couplets.
So
Yep.
the ski, I did the ski and the pull-ups with this young kid in front of me. Let's say he's 13. He did really well on his first ski, but he got tired. And when he got tired, he stopped realizing it's like he forgot how to ski at that point. And I'm observing, and I'm a coach in nature. I'm a helper in nature. I'm an encourager in nature. So I start with the encouragement side. You got this. 5 more pulls, you'll be done. 3, 1, you're done. Great. Well done, bro. You're killing it. Doing an amazing job. On round 3, though, my man was struggling. But he was forgetting to do a few things. One, he wasn't reaching really high on the ski. He was getting tired, so he's not reaching as high. His pull was less efficient, less effective. I said, reach high. He started reaching higher. His cadence picked up. His wattage picked up. He got done with his ski faster.
Good, simple cue.
Very good.
Great coaching cue. Nice and simple. The athlete can hear it. They receive it. They don't have to think much, and they do it, and it helps them.
But I intentionally started with, you're doing great. Like, that's not, it's not a unintentional thing. Like, I'm not this kid's coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm his peer at this point. And I'm not better than him. Like, legitimately. Until you put some type of metric to be tested that could be tested, would you find out who did better in that metric. But as far as success goes for me yesterday, the 2 things I was looking for was I rowing hard enough to make it hurt, or was I just chilling? And did I do a good job? And I think about this regularly. Do I do a good job of encouraging others around me? And that word is specific right there, encouraging. If I don't do those 2 things personally when I come into the gym, something's off. Something's wrong with me, actually. Like, it's almost a litmus test to what happened that day.
Your day, yeah.
Or my spirit, whatever it is.
Right.
And yesterday was a win. Like, I mean, it was so great. Getting home and just thinking, what a valuable way to spend my time.
Mm-hmm.
And even more so than the calories burned, the potential gains, aerobic gains, whatever it is. That dude, it's something very special happens in that moment. Who knows? Maybe that encouragement makes that kid come to the fit class more. Or maybe it even just makes him come back. Just come back.
Mm-hmm.
Type of thing.
Mm-hmm. To feel like you're cared about.
Right. And it's
you got
like,
friends around you. You got people pulling for you.
This is my place.
You're suffering a little bit, and someone else picks you up and carries a little bit of the load for you. Yeah.
If I could give something away about success, it would definitely start with, hey, walk in, do your best. Like, for real. Actually, let's go nuance on do your best, because I can think of something that's super obvious to me. Do your best. All right. Well, what does that mean today? Is my best today a PR? Is my best today just getting to the gym? Is my best today encouraging the other person beside me? Is my best today? You can start filling in these blanks, right? Because do your best in that class might be different Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Over, a large spectrum of, of things.
Right.
Performance-wise, though, like actual performance-wise, I think CrossFit does a good job of helping you do your best. Some of the things that CrossFit helps with are prescribed weights.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, today we're doing...
They give you a goal.
It gives
you something to shoot for if you don't know what you're shooting for.
It's almost built in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like even the test itself, it's just the number of reps, let's say even.
Dude, I was so furious with you on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Like you specifically. Furious.
Sure. Yeah.
Unless you didn't do this. The class workout had heavy dumbbell snatches in it.
Yes. 5 reps.
Paired with something.
It was air squats.
Air squats.
Yeah, the second part of that.
All right. Only 5 reps.
Yep.
I thought it was 5 on each arm.
5 total. Supposed to be heavy.
Yeah, so I went heavy and I did 5 on each arm.
Oh. Uh-huh.
I just wasn't listening to the coach.
Okay.
And it's not your actual
there we
fault.
go.
But there was a reason that I brought that up, which was, I saw it was heavy dumbbell snatches, and I had heard someone in the previous class.
Yeah, did the 120.
Yes. And I was like,
because I told them they can do the 120.
Dang.
Because I gave them that idea, that goal. You plant the seed that because you know what they're capable of.
Right.
They might not just want to commit to it that day, so you kind of give them that little bit of extra push.
It was the extra push that I needed.
Yeah, sure. And then that push in the the morning, just resonates throughout the day because people talk and you hear, hey, this person did this. It's like, all right, let me try to do that. I'm going to try to do that, but I'm going to try to do it faster. That's where the competition comes into play as something good, where you can measure yourself against other people. So your success might be beating another person in an earlier class if you're friends, let's say, and you guys compete and are competitive and know how to do that appropriately, not like a bunch of jerks.
Right. And that's a fine line, and it's good.
It's a very fine line.
And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to contend with that. However, I'd rather you contend with that here in an arena that is essentially it's made for it. It's making your body better. It's really, really trying to help you reach health. Mm-hmm. Rather than, we'll come back to the money example of rather than figuring out how to sell the most mortgage-backed securities.
Yes, as shadily as you can.
That's a huge problem.
Sure.
When you take competition and insert it into the wrong arena, and now you might actually just be preying on someone.
Yes.
Or multiple people.
Sure.
And that's that
can be done. That can be done in this arena too.
Yeah. And so I'm curious if success has, all of these ways to be judged when you enter the gym, mm-hmm. do you think that where do you think the average member misses it?
I don't know that they're aware of all of the opportunities for success. I don't think they see all of the things that they could be. They don't quite see the potential that's there. A good coach sees potential. A good coach sees their athletes and they see them as all of these things they could be. And it's your job as a coach to tell the athlete and help guide them towards that potential that they can become, even if they don't even believe in it themselves. I think that's what a good person does. I think that's what a good friend does. A good friend sees potential in the people around them, not for their own benefit, but for the person's benefit, their friend's benefit. Not for not in a selfish way, but I think a person that's framed their mind correctly in the world sees potential in things. They don't always see the other side of it. I know the bad side, let's say. Like they're always trying to bring out the potential in others. You're sowing seeds in other, like, in the communities around you and the ideas of people around you, that kind of thing. Building them up, let's say.
Yeah, encouraging.
Encouraging.
Right.
That's what encouragement is.
Right.
You're seeing a positive potential in that person, and then you're helping them reach it. Mm-hmm. Not in a way that's critiquing, but in a way that's building them up, helping them see it. It's not like you're better than them. They're seeking that. They should be seeking that, right? Trying to better themselves, trying to realize their potential. And then you, as a good friend, what makes you a good friend or a good coach or a good person is that you also see that potential in them, and you collectively work together. So it makes a good husband and wife combo. Right? They see the potential in their partner or their significant other.
Right.
And they work together to bring it out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you can recognize the significance in the other, encourage them, and encourage them in a loving way. What manifests is that Hallmark movie. Like, it is the story. It is the archetypal.
Truth.
Yeah.
Like,
truth.
Yeah.
That it just transcends.
You could call it love.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've been thinking a little bit about how love manifests in the gym. And it's been hard. Like, it's not an easy one for me to find. So, like, took that one
Really?
away. Yeah. Like, I can find it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as nuanced as the other things that I think of. Like, let me actually.
Do you have an example
of
what you're talking about?
No.
Okay, that's fine. We can talk about it later.
The thing that I was thinking most about was if a success for the coach, like I'm success for a bad coach, let's say, or let's not use the word bad.
Yeah, I was like,
success for a new coach. I was just defining bad in my head as less knowledgeable than.
But bad also is
an experience.
Right, but if you're a bad coach, it doesn't mean you can't become a good coach.
Right.
You can be a bad coach. I can walk in and be a real bad coach.
Any day of the week.
I coach in an hour and a half. I could be a very bad coach for a 3 o'clock class.
Correct. For any reason, number of reasons.
Yeah, right.
So what I was thinking was a new coach, one that is learning his or her cues, right? Learning how to help, get somebody from, push-ups to pull-ups to handstand push-ups, whatever. I was thinking of success for them, which is, do you know everyone's name in your class? Like,
I hate it when I don't.
How come?
Because you should. You should know, and you should work on that as a coach. That's something that you should, just because you need to be building the relationship. And if I'm coming to you and I'm using your name and I'm talking, we're interacting on a different level than if I don't communicate with, hey, JB, let's work, like, looks good, let's try this. Let me know what you think. I'm like, it's different than just hey, let's do this better, or let's do this thing a little bit different. I don't know, it's just there's a personal connection. You understand it. It's
knowing
everybody
someone.
gets it.
But what does what does knowing someone's name communicate to them?
That you care. That you remembered them, that they're a part of the community.
Yes, that you remembered them.
Yeah.
That they're worth remembering.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, which everybody is. It's just that the coach it's their job to know the athletes in the class.
All right, that's why you want to talk about a separator between a gym where you walk into and you're responsible for you and just you and the equipment and all of the above, and a CrossFit gym. Your name gets remembered here.
It's a great point. It's like Achilles.
That's why
that's
they
a
won't
joke. I do
remember
like
their
that
name.
movie. That's why.
No,
they, yeah.
I mean, it's so
It's
classic.
such a
Brad
good
Pitt's my
classic.
favorite actor, by the way.
Yeah. Really?
I mean,
He
like-
did a good job in that movie.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah. Brad Pitt, Fight Club. I mean, Fight
Oh,
Club
that's true. I
is a
figured it out.
part, is like really, really a part of
Such a good movie.
some of my sense making. I mean, like it played a huge role in figuring out how to sort of separate the things that need to be separated. Like there are so many good lines.
Go dive into it. Like, go look up the philosophy of it.
Yeah,
There's way more to it than just the story.
right. Even like the top 10 quotes, you could probably I could probably teach a college level class on Fight Club
Yeah.
quotes.
Yeah, you probably could. This is true.
It's dude, that's so good. But you got a favorite Brad Pitt movie?
No, both of those are great.
Yeah.
Those are. I mean, I remember when I first watched. I accidentally watched Fight Club. I had like a little television on the wall, like one of those little tiny, like literally a foot television on the wall that I put up, and sometimes I'd have like a movie playing while I'm like doing my homework in school, in college. And like the movie came on, and then I like kind of was watching it as I was doing work, and then all of a sudden I just completely stopped working and just watched the
Yes.
whole entire movie.
Dude.
And I didn't even know what the name of the movie was, and I was like, it just like captured me,
Yep.
and I loved it, and I didn't know why, and then I watched it again, and then again, and it was like, all right, that's a good movie.
Mm.
And then you see like the little points in it, like, dang, okay,
Oh man.
interesting. But yeah, anyways, back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, like you want to be remembered. It was sort of the tangent was that's
Yeah.
that's why nobody will remember your
Well,
name.
it's such a savage.
It's super savage. If I think some of the things that I care most about in life that manifest easily in the gym are these simple concepts that translate outside the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Why does this place resonate so much with me and my soul and my spirit? Like the gym, like working out, CrossFit resonates with my spirit. That's so strange. Well, it resonates with my spirit because I like to know the name of the person that just rang up my groceries. And I like to say, hey, thanks, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you. Whatever it is. Wherever I go, I want to know your name. Let me tell you this story that happened to me on Friday. When I was in Charlottesville, I was walking the downtown mall, and I walked past a homeless man. He had a sign, said anything else, whatever. I personally have a code that is whatever amount of cash I have on me at that time, I must give to them without question. And I just do it. So I walked past, and I didn't have any cash on me at this time. And I usually have something, $1, $5, $20, whatever it is, right? Like I have some type of cash. And so I walk past, and I look, and I don't have, and I look over at him. I look him right in the eyes, right? People are just passing this man, like not acknowledging him, not stopping to say, no, nothing, just passing. And I stop, and I say, hey, I'm so sorry, homie. I don't have any money. And he was like, what? Don't call me homie. Get the F out of my face. Get out of here. Get out of here. And he started cursing me out. And I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. What? And he's like, and he started cussing me out again. And I was like, wait a second. What is going on right now? He's like, my name's Tony. And I went, I'm really sorry. What? I don't know what just took place. He was like, I'm not your effing homie. And I went, okay. I was like, I was just, no, you don't know. You know what? I'm out here trying to help. I wanted to stop. I wanted to acknowledge you. I wanted to stop and at least make eye contact with you to say, I saw you. You're not invisible, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And that I wanted to help. And, oh, hey, Tony, guess what? I was going to let you know that if there was an ATM further down this mall, I was going to stop, get money out intentionally, and bring it back to you. And he's like, but you wouldn't know that. You cursed me out because you think that somehow I just offended you. He's like, well, why did you say what you said? You're making fun of me. Just because I'm homeless doesn't mean you could just walk all over me. I was like, homie's a term of endearment. That's why I call my friends.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, and in a second, a switch flipped. And he went, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. My name is Tony, though. And I went, Tony, if there's an ATM down the way, I might get some money out for you. There's an ATM down the way. I got some money out for him. I came back. I said, Tony, here you go. I'm sorry that this is all that I can do, but this is what I'm doing. He said, thank you. This is actually what I would ask of you. And I went on my way. The power of knowing. Imagine if I had just said, I'm so sorry, Tony. I don't have anything right now. Like what that would have communicated to him in the very beginning. Would have been drastically different. And also think about if I didn't stop and continue the conversation. He might have. I mean, think about this man's life and how hard it is already. Now he's got strangers on the street making fun of him in his mind. And it's like, man, my words misrepresented my heart's actions at that moment.
Yeah.
And it was just by not knowing his name. Know your freaking members' names.
That's a good point.
What a win.
Right.
Like, success can come from so many different things. It's so easy. It's so simple. Actually, I was just thinking, I wonder if we could how many different places can you find a thing to define or gather success from in the gym? I was thinking the whiteboard, remembering someone's name that are just
as
like little things. Yeah, like as a coach or even as a member. I don't know.
No, I'm saying either one. That instance was as a coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a coach, that could be your goal. That could be success for you for the day is remembering everybody's name and giving each person a tip that they can work on in the class.
Doing the workout RX. That could be your success for the day. Doing the workout scaled. That could be your success for the day.
Yeah.
Doing the workout at all. Starting it. Finishing it.
Getting to the gym. I used to say that because a lot of people had trouble consistently just getting to the gym. I'm like, just get to the gym. Like, we'll make it fun. It's going to be hard. Just get yourself here, and then we'll work from there.
Talk to a person in the class you've never talked to before. Talk to your coach. Ask a question. Encourage someone beside you. Maybe do 25-pound dumbbells instead of 20.
Yep.
If you can.
Lift 145 pounds instead of 135 pounds. Like
right.
You always do.
Your success today might be something that's that might not be reflected in the fastest time on the whiteboard.
No, keep your heels down when you squat today.
Oh, that's such a good one. That's a 12 rules for life one.
Oh, yeah, you can make it rules for CrossFit. Huh?
You know, like 12 rules for CrossFit. It's like very yeah, that's
but there's an infinite number of these rules that you could write for yourself.
Right. Put your ab mat back.
Yeah, clean your equipment.
Right.
Clean somebody else's equipment.
Ooh,
Pick
that's
up someone else's weight.
Oh, yeah. Share your barbell.
Share your barbell with somebody, sure.
Run with someone.
That's a good one.
Help someone stretch. I don't know. Like, it's
Sky's
endless.
the limit.
Right.
You could keep going. Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
You could keep going. I couldn't come up with too many. You were coming up with them too fast.
Yeah.
They're great.
I like it. I really can see the world. I can see the world clearly. I can see the world clearly manifest in the simplicity of what happens in a CrossFit gym.
Yeah, absolutely. From all different angles too.
Right. And it translates.
Angle,
It translates almost anywhere else. Because everywhere else doesn't have the ability to do what the gym has the ability to do.
Right, and that's why I know that it's good and true, and that's why I like it, and that's why I opened this gym, because I've seen that carryover, that transition from one completely different arena to another, and it just works. It just builds people up.
Do you think that success should be someone's goal?
Interesting question. Success being what? You'd have to define success then.
And goal being what?
You have to define it, that's all. You have to define success to you, and then if you define it, then becomes a goal, and then you can make small steps towards that goal, let's say. So maybe?
I think
depends on what you define success as, that's all. I think so.
Right. Because usually someone's goal when they come to the gym is to do something that will make them look better naked. What a shame to stop at that. You would be missing out on everything we just talked about.
Yeah, and there's more to all of this than what's, let's say, presented out into the world. And that's what hopefully we have given away today a little bit of. That you can see there's more to it than just that.
Which is usually the goal. And your goal is stifling your ability to see the world for what it actually is. I want to look good naked, though. So I recognize it all.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying not to.
No.
Right? But it's not my goal. It can't be.
More of a byproduct.
It has to be a byproduct.
Mm-hmm.
It can only be a byproduct.
Yeah, that's what I always think of it as. I've always thought of it as, I guess.
If it is your goal, it replaces the top. It replaces the ultimate with the wrong thing.
Yes, we've talked about this before.
If it replaces that, then you'll get there and you'll never be good enough. It's why bodybuilding is so hard as a source of purpose and meaning, is because it's subjective. It's not objective. And the subjectivity of it, when it becomes this ultimate thing, crushes you eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't always be there. You could even be the best of the best of the best of the best and win all of the competitions and all of the above and achieve that success. Have the perfectly sculpted human body. For how long? Until when? Forever? That's your goal? Are you sure? Why?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get to the bottom of that experience really quick. Like, you'll realize, this, what? Oh, no.
Yeah, keep asking questions.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What did I just miss on this journey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, guess what? You just get to start over. You know, like, it was worth it. For all of the nastiness that came with it or whatever, well, it actually became the lesson that you needed.
Mm-hmm. And that's just the way that you see the world, right? That's the perception in which you see the world. If you look at it that way.
Man.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what success has for me today. I have a couple of more things that I get to do today. One of them's like ministry related, and another one is I get to come back to the gym with my daughters. One of the most successful things for me currently is laughing in the kids' room with both of my daughters. Like, if my spirit can remain if it can remain happy or like cheerful during that time, rather than sitting in the room looking out the window and saying, I'm missing out on this.
Sure.
My success is found in the happy, like cheerful, like fun place of Everly lost her mind yesterday with the thing that you have in there. It's like this tricycle-like thing that makes some noise and honks. Bro, I watched her do it for 25 minutes. Honk. It was, oh, man. It was part of my success yesterday.
That's great.
That I was able to check that.
Yeah.
in there, even before I got into the gym.
Mm-hmm. But if you're not aware of that, looking out into the gym of wanting to be in there and doing that, and that you're not aware of that thumbs down
Right.
on that idea, then you can't ever autocorrect. You can't ever adjust. You can't ever change your perception of things.
Dude, that's so perfect. That perception thing you've been honing in on is something that you've taught me.
Well, it's because it's where I fail in my life personally.
What? That's
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
the
You
same
give it away
idea.
so well.
Well, the same idea. That's where it's not good like that all the time. And there's a lot of areas outside where it's not, that perception's not where it needs to be. And that's something that I'm working on. So when I hear stories like that, it helps me try to recognize areas in my life where I need to reorient myself and make that my goal and make that my success for the day. But that's a really good point with the kids, because it's, my wife goes to work in the morning and I take care of Claire and get her to go to school and everything. And sometimes that feels like a rush and a hassle and like feels annoying. And I'm like, you could be doing this, that, and the other. But the moments where you sit and you recognize and you enjoy the time that you get to spend there, the happier you are. And it's true. It's not like you're pretending. Like it's meaningful. It's good. It's something positive, and it's just a matter of remembering that and making that a goal, making that your definition of success. It's a really good point. I love that. But it's endless. It's out there in an infinite number of areas. Every thought that goes through your head, you could be analyzing. I'm an analytical person, so
right.
I perceive the world that way. So it's a hard thing also too.
Yeah, yin yang.
Yeah.
That must be hard competitive wise, like in the sense of like knowing that, like it's almost like you would have to boil down the competitive side of your life and separate it from the rest of these things. Like I'm curious if you think you can insert that into this perspective, like, or if it needs to fracture itself off and be an entirely separate beast, because
I think so.
Because it might not serve you well. I'm not.
I
don't
quite
know.
figured it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know.
Maybe that's what I'm playing with right now, and that's what I'm learning from competing right now.
You're definitely learning that from competing right now.
So
because there's a part in your life that I observe where you never lost, like legitimately. It was like until you that's a wild thing to think about. I just got lost in my own thoughts of, oh no,
it just powered off. That's okay.
Oh, we just lost the video.
Yeah,
but it's okay. We're still recording on
We're
here.
still recording.
Anyways, let's just we can pick up next time.
Yeah.
In a place that you're uncomfortable with. Well, guess what? Time to be uncomfortable and talking about Ben a little bit. Because nobody wants to. I mean, very few people are going.
I really enjoy this. No, I enjoy this, and I enjoy all these perspectives on things.
All right.
I think they're really helpful, and I think they're really good helping people orient towards different definitions of success and places where they can find it where they didn't think maybe they could find it.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I think it's a great place to end, and I think it's another one we can talk about another time.
All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, thanks for joining us on the coach's office today. Hooty hoo.